Alright, got my second wall done. And for all my trades brothers and sisters out there, I know there isn't a straight piece of wood in here. I know. I've got that, it's got to be straight bug too after being a trades guy myself, but these boards were honestly so ugly on the fence that was built here. That's why we tore them down and threw them in the burn pile. So I literally salvaged warped dog shit and put them on the walls in here. But the looks of what it cost to buy, what was it? It's called barn boards in Home Depot or whatever in the store. It would have cost around $1,200 or $1,400 to do these two walls. So the price is right. Half a little pail of screws, and it's on. Now, what else? Sarah's bugging me, not bugging me, but she asked me to show you guys this. She got a bunch of these t-shirts. And these are actually the good fitting t-shirts. You know, the ones that they don't just hang on you like a sleeping bag or a bed sheet. They're actually proper fitted shirts. She hand selected them, and she's got them in. I think she said she's got up to 5X. I think she said on request. So, she's got that blue and a gray. All right, shared. Oh, and she also brought in, these are the hats that are all sold out. Well, they're on the shelf right now. I think the blue, the green. She wanted me to show you the brown one. What's it called? A Heritage Legacy hat or something? The green ones are back in. What's this one? I don't know what the color that is. Beige in black and the black and the orange. Alright, she got them in. So you all know, she doesn't like to email people and bug anybody. She asked me to do that, so there you go. Showed you, it's on her store, the How to Hunt store. She hand ships it, and everybody gets their stuff in like a week. That's about it. The Teespring thing, I guess everybody has been receiving all their goodies. I took it off of our website. I think it's still below on the YouTube page. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it up? I don't know. Whatever, is what it is. I got my stuff. People are chiming in, they're getting their stuff. I don't know. But I'm more interested to know if anybody's having any conversations after wearing their Club of No Return items. I gotta wear mine more. We're going to the big city tomorrow, Vancouver. I think I'm gonna wear my Club of No Return hoodie. For sure. But anyway, what else? I'm going to do, I got these two wood walls. That wall is basically going to be a sliding glass door. And then this wall over here, you can't see it, but it's 8 by 12 long. I'm going to paint that black. And I have a whole pile of framed photos from my adventures as a unique time in the Yukon, remote Yukon. And I was the only one on this lake in aluminum boat going scouting, and there wasn't a stitch of wind, and it was the perfect photo, stuff like that. Horses and photos I took years ago guiding up on the top of mountains, and I got a whole pile of framed photos of myself and past clients. Dozens of them. So I'm going to make that I'm going to paint that wall, sheet it, paint it black, and put all my framed memories all over it. I think that's pretty cool. That's about it. That's all the babble you get. What else? What else is new? Well, you know what? Unfortunately, a lot of people have brought it to my attention. Not sure how to deal with this, but there's a friend of ours who has a channel similar to mine. He shares a lot of truth, cares a lot of people, and people brought it to my attention that he's not swearing enough. I don't know what to do. I have to take him aside and have a one-on-one conversation with him and see if I can't get him to, ramp it up a little bit. Because, it's a little concerning when I get so many emails complaining about one of my friends not swearing enough on their videos. So I'll see what I can do. Thanks for letting me know. Anyway, let's get some voices heard. Let's get some way more important voices in mine heard. Who do we got? No subject with this email. This is titled, No Subject. Hi, Steve. I feel it's important to reach out to you, if not for the importance of your service, but those impacted negatively by encounters with these beings. So, to the importance of the public to become aware of the bigger picture. I'm fully confident that these beings have their own agenda. Some hostile, some benign. Roll the dice? I'm not to say. I guess I would wish to testify to the need for all humans to do the best they can to propagate positive energy, whether it be towards these beings or our fellow humanity, or both. I'm 56 years old and looking down the backside of the mountain of this existence. My main reason for reaching out to you is in hope that from your service on this planet is a noble venture. By my account at least, I'm an open-minded person. Judge not yet, lest ye be judged. There is more to our existence than is let on to the average Joe. I have no proof, aside from my own feelings, if, quote, I know stuff, I don't know how I know, I just do, end quote. This world may go on as it is, or it may not. It really doesn't matter because it's all just a means to the end. Not cynical, just practical. When we as humans figure out how to come together as one love, we might find the answer. You can't blame people for being scared and staying ignorant, unless we are able to take the leap of faith, relying on our own intestinal fortitude. It is our responsibility as beings with the knowledge of our strive for enlightenment to help to bring the knowledge to those who are lacking, to provide the knowledge. It's up to them and what they choose to do with it. There is an amazing beauty to this life, including the bad with the good. It's not about the destination as much as it's about the journey. I thoroughly enjoy your channel and kind of wish I could share a campfire with you. But, it is what it is. It doesn't detract from my admiration of you, brother. I hope life stays positive, peaceful, and enlightened. Positive energy to you and yours, brother. All life is sacred and is connected. We are apex predators for a reason. I admire hunters and what true hunting stands for. You do what I wish not to, but could if needed. Sincerely, Kurt A. Stewart. Kurt, I appreciate your positive message to myself and everybody else. Absolutely appreciate it, man. I have a feeling most of us go through life on a positive side, don't we? But it's funny, I've noted for many years now that it's far easier to market hate and anger than it is happy. I don't know why with humans. It just is. It's kind of odd, isn't it? There's some very, very small, very remote rural communities I've spent a lot of time in over the years. Excuse me. And I notice small communities are sometimes a good mirror image of big communities. It's just the details really stand out easier. What I'm trying to say is, I used to always say, I could take everybody from this community, sit them in this coffee shop right here, and give them 5 topics to talk about. I got to pick one. 4 of them are going to be absolute, joyful, happy topics, or one of them is going to be miserable, piss me off topic. And you know what? Sadly, the majority of the people would pick the miserable topic and keep running with it. I don't know why. But anyway, I like to think that most of us here are on the positive side. I hope. And I hope we encourage everybody else to be as well, right? But anyways, thank you for that positive note, man. Appreciate it. I agree. Okay, what's this title? This is titled Sasquatch or What? Steve, how are you? I am doing great, thank you. My name is Mark McWhirter, and I'm from Western North Carolina. I have a story to share from my youth. I'm 48 years old, and I was around 10 to 12 years old when this incident happened. I had a lot of cousins on my mother's side, as she had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. My dad was an only child. Anyhow, all my cousins, my favorites, were 2 girls, Amy, who was 2 years older than me, and Lynn, who was 3 years older. We were thick as thieves. Lynn taught me how to ride my first dirt bike, a Honda 50, that I got for my 4th Christmas, and I've been a speed demon ever since. Me and Amy were at each other's house every other week or so, so it just so happens that this weekend, me and Lynn were spending the weekend at Amy's. We all lived in rural areas within 15 minutes of each other, but Amy was closest to the mountains. During this time, there had been reports of a big bipedal animal in the area, and it had been nicknamed Nobby. because it was first sighted on a mountain peak called Ben's Knob. So, we were exploring the woods on Amy's family land, over 100 acres. Her dad was half Cherokee, and her grandmother and grandfather were each half Cherokee. Sorry about the long description, just try to convey the facts. We'd been playing hide and seek and climbing trees. We were just walking along, getting deeper into the woods. We discovered a leg. Yes, a fresh leg, covered in reddish fur and had a hoofed foot. It had fresh blood on it, where it had been ripped off of an animal. Well, that freaked us out, but we kept walking as we were getting close to a clearing that we were familiar with. When we got to the edge of the field, we saw it. A super large, heavy-set bipedal creature. Its coat was dark, reddish, black color. It was about 100 yards away. Me and Amy were just staring at it, not making a sound, when all of a sudden, Lynn proclaimed loudly, "It's a bear!" Well, it was not a bear. It heard her and turned around and dropped the source of the leg. A red limousine bull calf. Before the bull calf hit the ground, we were hauling ass out of those woods. Lynn was a tomboy and was big into sports. Amy was also a tomboy but wasn't really into sports. I was the small for my age, but I was very athletic and really fast. Lynn had always been sure that she was a faster runner than me. She was the last one out of the woods. We were terrified of what we saw. I didn't get a great look at his face, but I'm sure it had a snout. I was actually talking about this with Amy not even 6 months ago, and she said that she thought about that experience all the time. We told our moms what we saw, and as soon as my dad and uncle got back from their side job, which was reupholstering furniture, we took them to the leg in the woods and to the clearing where we saw it. There was a smaller sized pine tree next to where the creature was standing. My dad was a small guy, only about 5'8". My uncle was taller. He was closer to 6'2". The creature was way taller than my uncle. We figured at least 7 or 8 feet tall. What's spooky is a muddy swipe was found on Amy's house about 10 feet off the ground. Also, after our encounter, Lynn said something was tapping on her second-story bedroom window. She actually looked once and said she saw a big clawed finger tapping on her window. How strange is that? Now, I never had any type of contact at my house, but I will tell you about something very strange that happened to me when I was younger, before the creature encounter. I was walking through the woods on my property to get some Tommy-toe tomatoes out of our garden. Sorry, Tommy-toe tomatoes out of our garden. I heard a rustling in the treetops, and I saw a giant hawk or eagle. This thing looked like it had a 20-foot wingspan. Excuse me, a little dusty in here. I told my dad, and he said that a few days earlier he saw the same thing, but didn't say anything because he figured his eyes were playing tricks on him. I know this is kind of a long email, but I need to mention one other thing that happened around the time that I saw that giant bird. Once again, I was in the garden looking for good watermelon. Now, I've always been amazed with astronomy and liked looking through my telescope. Well, this particular day the sky was clear and you could see the moon really good. As I was looking for a watermelon, I kept looking up at the moon. Now, for the weird part, I looked up and I saw a very big triangle-shaped aircraft. When I say big, I mean football field-sized big. I saw it for an instant, and then it just disappeared. I never told anyone about that, and had almost forgotten about it until I saw a documentary on strange phenomenon. Anyhow, that's my story. Feel free to share it. You can use my name. Thanks for your honesty and willingness to bring these subjects attention. Thanks, Mark. Mark, thank you. And we can't get things brought to attention without people like you, right? You know what? I have a funny feeling that when that dude murdered that calf, it probably sensed you guys coming and tore that leg off and left it for you, intentionally thinking it was counterattacking it, kind of a somewhat maybe a bad thing with a bit of a good thing. It's like, hey, I'm going to take your calf, but here's a chunk for you guys anyway, because you're obviously coming looking for it or something, maybe, possibly, right? I don't know. That was a hell of a thing for a bunch of kids to see. Must have scared the absolute shit out of you. No doubt your cousin thinks about it all the time. I know I think about it all the time, what I saw. Can't get out of it, can't escape it. It's It's a life sentence. It's the club of no return, right? But maybe if you want, share this video with your cousins so that they know for sure that they're not going crazy. And there's literally tens of thousands of other people who've had the exact same experience. Less the calf. Right? Anyway, moving along. Alright, this next one's titled Puzzle Piece. Dear Steve, feel free to use my name. First, thank you for what you do. Your generous spirit shines through and you are a precious gift to the people. I've traveled the world in my military career, but never encountered any of the forest people, but I have believed in their existence as long as I can remember. You recently asked the people if anyone's view has changed since watching your show. Well, I can tell you my mind has been changed dramatically. I was previously convinced Bigfoot was Gigantopithecus. However, since watching your show, I'm now convinced otherwise. I believe they are something altogether different now. Recently I awoke from a sound sleep with a Bible verse in my head, so I got up and looked it up. What I found shocked me, and here it is. King James, Version, Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 and 2. Quote, It came to pass when men began to multiply in the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that were fair, and they took them wives of which they chose. Then in verse 4 it continues, There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. To me, sons of God are angels, breeding with human women and creating a whole new race of giants. Mighty men, men of renown, describes what I've been hearing from the majority of stories on your show. The Sabe people are said to have special powers, i.e. mind, speak, shape-shifting, super strength, etc. Sounds like an angel-human hybrid to me. I hope this helps someone. I know it has provided me with a very large puzzle piece. God bless you and yours. Stay the course and stay safe. The tyrants of the world will be brought down. Respectfully, Rick Miller. Well, I hope they do get brought down, Rick, but I got a funny feeling that we are all supposed to be taking them down. But like I said the other day, we keep looking at our screens and not looking up, right? And stuff keeps getting fed to us, and we look at it and scroll to the next item. Not doing anything. And I'm guilty too. Anyway, you never know, man. Thanks for sending that on. I know there's a lot of people here aware of that same scripture, without a doubt, because they've had it emailed to me numerous times. What's this? Just gotta make sure it's about somebody's got a crazy thing. Alright, let's have a look. Alright, this next one's titled Buffalo Bill's Autobiography, Indian Account of Giants. In the public domain, quote, an autobiography of Buffalo Bill, Colonel W.F. Cody, Buffalo Bill, 1846-1917. The below is at the very end of chapter 6. No need to credit me, Kurt from Washington. Quote, while we were in the Sand Hills, scouting the Niobrara country, the Pawnee Indians brought into camp some very large bones, one of which the surgeon of the expedition pronounced to be the thigh bone of a human being. The Indians said the bones were those of a race of people who long ago had lived in that country. They said these people were 3 times the size of a man of the present day, and they were so swift and strong that they could run by the side of a buffalo, and, taking the animal in one arm, could tear off a leg and eat it as they ran. These giants, said the Indians, denied the existence of a great spirit. When they heard the thunder or saw lightning, they laughed and declared that they were greater than either. This so displeased the Great Spirit that he caused a deluge. The water rose higher and higher till it drove these proud giants from the low grounds to the hills, and thence to the mountains. At last even the mountain tops were submerged, and the mammoth men were drowned. After the flood subsided, the Great Spirit came to the conclusion that he had made men too large and powerful. He therefore corrected his mistake by creating a race of the size and strength of the men of the present day. This is the reason the Indians told us that the man of modern times is small and not like the giants of old. The story has been handed down among the Pawnees for generations. But what is its origin, no man can say. Well, how interesting is that? I'm sure a bunch of you sleuths are going to look into that one, right? That means before the white man came with the Bible. That's frickin' interesting, isn't it? And I can at least confirm that there are sea creature fossils all over the place in the Rocky Mountains, way up where we are hunting mountain sheep. That's a fact. Seen it firsthand numerous times. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Okay, I don't know what this is about, but I'm going to start reading it. Hopefully it's what we're here for. Steve, I always enjoy those vast backgrounds which give me a fresh breath. Here's a quick family story. Going through old photos, I found a picture of my grandfather, William John Wagner, from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Rest in peace. The story came to mind as my arm hairs stand up. I heard him tell his wife, while I was with him at family gatherings in my youth, and I'm over 60 now, he and his World War I fishing buddy were somewhere along the San Juan River, east of Four Corners, New Mexico, back in the 1940s. His buddy was further west and around a bend in the waist-high water. Grandpa would light up in heightened expression when he always got to this part, and his eyes would get big, and described his friend's startling screams at the top of his lungs running into sight around the bend from the west about 40 to 50 yards away. His friend is waving his arms over his head with no rod in sight and making his way through that water hazard with a Sasquatch in tow. It was solid black and at least 10 feet tall, with the surface water was up to its mid-calf area compared to them at waist high. Loudly roaring and waving its arms overhead as Grandpa said, he rushed forward with his rod and got between his terrified friend and the mock-charging Sasquatch, as he called them, to Grandma's disapprovals. Grandpa started yelling louder, and the charge stopped. He said they had a loud argument at 10 feet there in the river about which days they could fish, so no more surprises. They fished the river for many years after that, and this is the story as told to me. It's okay if you don't read the others. Imagine the database you're getting. Wow. God bless John Geibel. Hey, man. That's quite the story, isn't it? Hard to picture a man bolting forward with a fishing rod to argue about fishing rights with a 10-foot tall hairy being charging, waving his arms. Not too many people could pull that off, right? It's quite a story. All right, what do we got? It's titled Northern California Girl Scout Camp. Greetings, Steve. You can say my name. I don't think you wrote it down. Thank you for all the brave members of this club and kind family that follow and share. I want to send my heart out to the sweet soul who bravely told us what she had endured as a native child of the First Nations people. I hope she knows how her pain has stirred so many of us to share this truth like wildfire. I have to admit, over the past 2.5 years, I've been lulled off to a good night's sleep more than once by your calm, monotone reading of stories and accounts of experiences. I know I'm not the only one here who will have to come off you like a NyQuil junkie if your channel ever gets banned by the power-tripping forces at large. Ha ha. Yeah. I've heard many folks talk about how they have buried or repressed memories of encounters, about how certain pieces of or situations shared by others awakened in them a familiarity and unlocks a memory from the past, generally from under the age of 12, or so it seems. I also have deliberated and questioned my own childhood memory of an event that I believe happened around 1980-81 while having a camp out with my Girl Scout troop number 42. This was the second of such trips we took up north past Calistoga in the Napa Valley, Northern California, so I was familiar with the sights, outbuildings, and connecting trails. I have other vivid memories from this campout, particularly because I was at that awkward age where strange things start to bloom, and I was the smallest in my troop, and there were also boy club scouts camping that weekend. A story for another time. As I recall, I always get very carsick on any winding roads, feeling sloshed around in the GMC van. After we pulled into camp and set up our tents, everyone else went to the chow hall. I stayed in my tent and laid down, vomited a few times, and felt much better. I joined the rest of my group, who had gathered on benches around a big campfire after dinner. We sang our Girl Scout songs and some other funny tunes. When it was time for bed, we all begged for a quick game of hide and seek. The troop leaders had no choice but to surrender to 12 high-pitched, relentless preteens. So the counting starts and we all scramble to find the best hiding place. I run into the cinder block restroom, and there were like 3 girls in there. I laid on the ground by a bush for a second, but it was not a good spot. Then I saw a great pine tree about 30 feet from the flagpole and trash cans with a dark canopy. I sneaked down to the tree, undetected by the seeker. I caught my breath and leaned my back up against the tree under its dark umbrella of boughs. I started to hear a voice in my head saying something like, "If you don't want to be seen, slow your breathing and turn your eyes away. Don't look at anyone. Become nothing. Become what surrounds you." I turned my head down and to the side and closed my eyes to avert them. I relaxed my shoulders and felt a little dizzy, maybe from all the puking and running. My arms at my sides slowly reached behind me to cling onto the trunk of the tree to steady myself. Instead of feeling the sting of shaggy bark, which has always severely irritated my skin, I felt hair. Not fur, but thick, coarse, and knotted hair. I remember weaving my little hands through it to get a fistful so I could hold myself in place. I realized that my head was sitting comfortably on top and between what I think were knees. I did not feel scared, and I did not look. I did not want to be seen, and I just said to myself, "Thank you, tree, now shh." I feel like I was invisible under that tree's shadow for hours, and I could have stayed even longer, content and feeling quite satisfied, when all the seeking had subsided and there were no more squeals of surprise. I knew I had to join my group at our campsite. I felt calm and happy, and not one bit sick. I thanked the tree again, this time out loud, as I emerged from inside it, and fell to my knees after tripping over its big roots. When I got to the flagpole, I looked back at the tree. It's pretty much dark, but with the light on the flagpole, I could barely see the big, shaggy, hairy legs and feet that blended in perfectly with the bark of the tree trunk. Realizing then I didn't trip on roots, I tripped over those big man feet. I felt like I had been given the secret gift of invisibility. I felt special until I was disappointed that nobody even knew I was not with the group or even missed me, or that I had out-hid everyone else. And I felt like if I told anyone about the gift of invisibility, it would be taken from me. But I guess the cat's out of the bag now. I am most interested to hear from anyone else who may have had any odd experiences while at that scout camp north of Calistoga. Yes, I know what you will say, Steve. If you found this channel and wrote in, then you already know. But a bit of vindication wouldn't hurt either. For sure, I get it. I recently moved to 10 acres outside of Nevada City, California, in the foothills of the Sierras. On one occasion at 10:30 p.m., I heard 2 loud roars that I could feel rattle my chest with no words to say. So loud, and so far away, yet so loud. I'm trying to learn from the wisdom offered around here and prepare myself mentally as to how best to deal any potentially fearful encounters in a non-threatening and assertive way. Thank you for all you do, Steve. Heidi W. Ooh, that's quite the frickin' story, Heidi. I'm surprised there wasn't I'm surprised you didn't add in a stink or smell. But I'm starting to think they do that to us intentionally. Actually, I've thought that for quite a while. That they possibly do that intentionally. Or, and one time me and Dave, I mentioned it to Dave and he somewhat agreed in a way. I just made a quick mention one day that I thought that maybe the scent was residue. from, could it be a portal opening? I don't know. Is it residue from one of these beings come into this vibration plane? I don't know. Maybe. And he thought so too, possibly. Who knows now? You can imagine what his knowledge base must be as well, too, right? Right up there, I'd imagine. But anyway, that'll be interesting to see if anybody chimes in the comment section below. So if you went to any of those scout camps, boy or girl scouts, and you know of something like this, then either email it to me at sharemystoryhowtohunt.com or comment back to this lady on in the comment section below this video. All right? Thanks again for sending that email. Absolutely appreciate it. All right. Section was titled Power to the People. Hey Steve, first off, thank you for providing an outlet for people and speaking the truth, no matter what anyone says. The truth will eventually set us free, and no, we both believe that. The lies that have been covered up forever are slowly coming into the light, and it's people like you who are really helping that happen. I'm eternally grateful. I've listened to almost all your videos, and every single Sasquatch Chronicles, among hundreds of hours of everyone else who has credible information for people. I've never seen a Sasquatch, but I know they exist all over this planet. The closest thing I can say that happened to me was archery hunting in central Ohio. We've hunted there about 9 years on state ground, and have heard of many encounters about an hour away. Last year I was getting into a spot that took about an hour to get into. I was heading up this small hollow in some pines about an hour before daylight. I'm not sure if you've ever used glow tacks, but probably have at least seen them. But my experience was something that resembled a red glow tack in size. It may have been a bit bigger, but not much. Anyway, I was walking up this draw, and this red light, about eye level, was about 50 yards in front of me. It was super dark. I figured it was a red glow tack and just kept walking towards it. But when I got to where it should have been, there was nothing. But it appeared about 50 yards in front of me again. This happened 3 times. It definitely made me feel weird, but not scared. My only thoughts were the coincidences with orbs and Sasquatch. There was nothing there though, and that was it. Eerie. I can't explain it. I just turned 40 and have hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the woods. I've been hunting since I was a young boy, and I've never had anything like that happen to me. On another note, I hate the people running our planet as much as you do, as well as most of the club. They are slowly stealing our God-given freedom and trying to destroy everything that is good in this world. They sure seem to be, don't they? It's kind of shitty. You know as well as I do that they're going to have to make a stand at some point and say no effing more. I'm a pretty passive fellow, but this is getting out of control. And before they destroy everything, we have to make changes. Your channel is such a blessing for people, and the power it has in uniting people is real. I don't have a platform like yours, but knowing we are cut from the same cloth, I'm reaching out to you to help spread the word. I'm not sure if you listen to Jordan Peterson, but he's super solid and is genuinely trying to make a stand against these tyrants. He's creating a group of world leaders to oppose the WEF and the rest of the fascist pigs trying to steal our livelihoods. It'll fill my heart with great content if you spread this word and post this video for me. These people genuinely care about humans, and I honestly believe this is the ship that we need to jump on. Obviously, everyone should do their own research, but I believe that most of the people who listen to your podcast feel similarly and should see this. We've been blessed to live the lives we live, and it's up to us to keep it that way. I'd love to come cruise through the mountains with you. You're living the dream. Thank you so much. God bless, Ryan Wentz. There's a picture of you with a cool buck. Nice buck, man. 2023 archery buck. It's a beauty. Yeah, I agree, man. It's kind of shitty, you know. It's not shitty, but there's just so much information coming up, and there's a lot of truth seekers who have large audiences, and they seem to be picking up speed and gaining more attention. Thank God. I was thinking about it the other day, like there's who I don't even remember his name. I should look it up before I sprack off, but I think it's the Minister of Defense in Britain. And he basically came forward and verbally spat it out that Britain should go straight to war with Russia. That for me, I was trying to narrow it down which one's the worst, the current U.S. government or the British government, and that confirmed it for me. It's the British government's probably the worst one. We have All of us, the people. The people didn't want to go to war. The people don't want to. The people don't want NATO to become. Okay, I'm going to bite my lip. I'm just saying. I'll get back to the point I was going to make. So there's this guy who's pushing for a nuclear power to engage in direct war with another nuclear power. That person, as far as I'm concerned, should be erased. Right? Think about it. These people are so caught up in their bullshit, they are taking our beautiful home, our mountains, our oxygen, our water, everything, and they're about to incinerate it out of absolute ego. That's it. And these are the people that are in control today. And it's kind of frustrating, and I sometimes think, well, here I'm bitching about it, looking at my screen, just like that meme said. The majority of the population isn't going to look up from their screen long enough, right? And here I am, I'm guilty. So what should I be doing? Should I be selling everything and going over there and taking one for the team and eliminating people like this? I don't know. Should I be trying to rally up people, creating funds to get people to get a grip on these evil sons of bitches and stop them from annihilating our home? You know what I mean? How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? It's got to be done. Something's got to be done in time, right? It's frustrating. But I guess when you have a large audience such as this and bigger, I guess part of the battle is keeping people informed honestly, right? And that's when I haven't done anything on the Rumble channel, and I should, because I got a lot to share there that will get this channel deleted if it's shared here. So there you go. Keep spreading the word, my man, and I will keep spreading the word as well until that one day when maybe possibly we are called to make the difference. I'll put that, I don't even know what video YouTube channel that is, but because I'm in my notes and I have no internet in this room, so I'll post that up in the comments. Hopefully I remember to. If not, man, put it in the comments section below the video when you hear me read this, alright? Alright. What do we got here? I don't know what this is about, but I'm going to mark it as red. It's titled The Prism. The Prism at Lake Wenatchee. In July 1975, family reunion in Leavenworth, Washington. We took a day trip to Lake Wenatchee, about a 20-minute drive. We took a car to the Winnebago. We took a car and a Winnebago to the lake for a picnic. The weather had changed from almost 80, sunny and beautiful, to extremely windy, cloudy, and very cool. 2 of my sisters drove in the car, and the rest of us in the Winnebago, maybe 6 to 8 family members. I was the first one out of the camper. I was 7.5 months pregnant. The door blew open against the motorhome. The wind was so fearsome. I went back in for a sweater. The area we parked wasn't much. No picnic tables, no bathroom, just a gravel area, and then a lake. For as cloudy as it got, I thought I saw the sun shining on the lake. Something sparkly and glittery. I walked towards the lakeshore looking for that sparkle I noticed. And wow, it looked more like a crystal hanging from a tree moving in the wind. It keeps changing. Now it's a prism of light floating by itself. It caught me off guard. There was a weird row of trees that looked barkless and white, like dead, next to the shoreline. They definitely looked dead and upside down, with their dead roots pointing to the sky. I got close to where I thought I saw the prism. I could hear the waves rolling in, very choppy from the wind. The wind was loud as well. I turned to look behind me and heard my dad talking to my 2 sisters. He said my nephew was ill and wanted Mama. I guess everyone else is still in the motorhome. I turned towards the lake to get to the shore and check it out. I couldn't see the crystal/prism anymore. And just like that, all the noise was gone. I was watching the waves coming to the shore. I could feel the wind, but I can't hear anything. Now, I could hear a buzzing or ringing in my ears. To my right, I could see my sister and her son. He was bent over getting sick, but I couldn't turn to see them. I couldn't move. I could only move my eyes. I felt as if something was crushing me, very tight. I couldn't breathe regularly. It was very shallow breathing, as if I was being squeezed. My entire body was being squeezed and crushed all at once. I didn't know if I was going to pass out. My brain was foggy. I was screaming in my head. My lips would not move. I could only move my eyes. Oh my God. In my head I was trying to pray, call my angels, please help me. What the hell? Help. What's wrong with me? I was so freaking out. I couldn't feel my feet. I couldn't see my feet. I think my legs are going numb. I'm so scared. I can't think clearly. Why am I still standing? I can't feel any part of my body. I can't feel my baby. I could only watch the water moving back and forth. What was I trying to do? Oh, please, Jesus. I could start breathing deeper. The fog was lifting. I can't feel my feet. Oh my God, I can see them. My feet move. My legs and feet were rubber, but I willed my body to move to the motorhome. I guess everyone is inside. I can't move my arm to the door hatch. My arms won't work. I bang on the door by throwing my body into it. Someone opens the door. I can't step up, I say. I can't step up, I say. I get a helping hand to pull me up. My whole body is numb, but I start shaking. My dad says, "We put all the food away close to an hour ago. Are you hungry? You must have taken a long trail. I think you were gone for 2.5 hours. I just need the bathroom, I said, but I couldn't get my arm up to turn the doorknob. I asked for help. My sister opened the door. I got sick and couldn't stop shaking. I went to the bed in the back and laid down. Asked for a blanket. Whatever this was by the shore took me, held me, and was feeding on me until I asked for Jesus." Whoa. I've had PTSD for years along with nightmares. I was on drugs for anxiety and drugs for sleeping. I would wake up screaming and kicking. "Let me go, let me go." My husband would lay on me until I woke up, holding me down, not being able to breathe again. It wasn't until 2012 I woke up, remembered what happened, and got off all the drugs. I still have PTSD, but dealing with it through my dog and nature. God bless you, Steve. You are the village hero for the platform you carry for us. Don't go following prisms or other things that may get you entangled. You can call me GB. Alright, I got a note for me at the end. Let me read it. Okay. I read your note to me at the end, and that is one hell of an alarming email. And I think that also, I agree with you, that is an important one for Dave to hear. So, consider this forwarded to him, and I assure you he will read this email. That's an alarming email, man. That's an alarming one. Because there's something else going on. And Dave is deep into it, trying to figure it out. And something like this needs to be forwarded to him for sure. And I have a feeling it could possibly be somewhat of a confirmation or missing puzzle piece for something he may be aware of, or other people for sure. So, yes, consider this passed on to him for sure. I'll give him your email address too in case he wants to contact you directly, and I'll get it to him, all right? That was a very alarming one, for sure. And who knows, that just might tie into what's happening to so many of these missing people, maybe, right? I'm glad you're still with us. I'm glad you emailed in. Be safe out there, and I hope you can. Learn to deal and live a calm and happy life alongside with your PTSD, your anxiety too. All right. It seems to be a real common thing going around society today. Very common, especially in people close to me. And I don't know why. Why is there so much anxiety? Medicated individuals, medicated for anxiety today. I wonder. Anyway, moving along. Thank you so much again for sending that email in. And I'll get it across. I assure you I will. Whew. Here's another one. Another voice to be heard. To answer your question, Dogman/Sasquatch Fight is the title of this email. Hello, Steve. You read my email just before you returned back home. The email was about a tree being pushed over, and I tried sending the video several times. I don't know why you aren't receiving it. But in my last email, I mentioned about my son and I returning from a hunt and hearing a fight between a dogman and a Sasquatch. Well, here it is. My son and I went on a late afternoon hunt, as we do for white-tailed deer. My son and I were at our normal hunting stands. We're about 200 yards apart. We've hunted this area since he was old enough to hunt. During our hunt, we saw nothing No game, no deer, no birds, not even an annoying squirrel. Excuse me. We hunt until dark. My son normally comes down from his stand, then comes by me, and we walk quietly back to the house. There was an overcast, no winds, silent, eerie silence, about 200 yards from our house. To the north, approximately 250 yards, we heard the bone marrow chilling scream. Your typical vocals, which about everyone describes at the round table of knowledge, and which I have heard before. 2 to 5 seconds later, we both heard a loud growl and scream. Canine type of growl/howl. In my head, I heard, "Go. Go now." My son said, "What the hell is that?" I said, "Just keep walking. Don't run. Just keep walking." As we walked, the Sasquatch sounds picked up, and we could hear limbs/trees breaking. And it was moving fast, and I mean fast, towards the dog-man canine sounds. Very vocal, deep growling yips. These sounds weren't natural. It was aggressive and threatening. The sounds combined in the same area, and I'm telling you and everyone, it sounded like something from hell was fighting. We walked at a steady pace and got in the house quickly and locked the doors. My son said, "What was that?" I told him what I thought it was. I've taught him at a young age about Sasquatch and Dogman, and about my past experiences and what I have learned. I also told him not to go in the woods alone for a while, just to be on the safe side. So, me wanting to know what the hell was going on my property, the next day, daylight, I used my track, crafting knowledge, and dogs. I went to the area where this confrontation happened. I found leaves overturned on the ground, tree branches broken, fresh dirt overturned in an area approximately in a 75-foot area. I looked for prints of any kind, just partial prints, none recognizable. But the two entities that did this were very large. This incident happened 8 years ago. Steve, I'm not trying to boast. I know the woods, and yes, I have had experiences before. But damn, the more answers I find, it goes deeper and deeper. I'm going to mention to everyone about talking to your neighbors about these entities. I was talking to a young lady whom I knew as a little girl and her family. She lived a mile from my home. I casually asked her if she ever saw strange things in the woods. She's a backcountry girl. She looked at me and told me her and her younger sister were on the trampoline and watched a large, hairy man walking across her pasture and step over a 6-strand barbed wire fence like it was nothing and walked into the woods. She said she and her sister were terrified. She told her family, they scoffed at her and her younger sister. I told her about things I have seen and experienced over the years. She started crying and said to me, "Someone believes me, thank God." I told her, "We believe you, we know. We're not believers, we know." I told her about your channel and mentioned your book and about my ATV incident in your book. I'm going to let her borrow it, so she has some comfort that she isn't alone. Steve, this channel has helped so many people. A sigh of relief that they aren't alone. The knowledge that I've gained and still gaining. Yes, the mind speak is real. Infrasound is real. Zapped is real. When any of these experiences happens to people, it's life-changing. And I feel threatened by the woods people. Cautious, yes. I deal with it on a daily basis. I pray and stay strong with an open mind. Always know my surroundings. Keep my gun and German shepherds around. They are my first alert, not just barking if they are staring unusually in a direction. Just take notice. And most importantly, your gut feeling. I've sent emails to Dave Politis and Scott Carpenter. Also, Steve, on my experiences and what I've learned. It's an honor to share with you and all the good people in the world, and I hope it's truly helpful to everyone that needs reassurance. You all do to me. I'd love to sit down with you and David and Scott and many other truth seekers. I like looking into someone's eyes instead of an email. LOL, just who I am. Oh, just to mention, my son is a deputy sheriff now, and I'm a very proud dad. Godspeed to you and all at the table. From the top of Lookout Mountain, Georgia, use my name, David SB. SB? Hope I didn't butcher your last name, brother. P.S. I'm going to try to send the fallen tree video that I spoke of in the email again to you. I guess keep sending until you get it. I think I got it. Did I read this, though, or... I remember somebody saying they heard us Dogman Sasquatch fighting. I remember saying, how do you know it's Dogman and Sasquatch if you didn't see it, right? But I wonder if you mentioned that earlier in a previous email, because I don't think I read this one. Did I? But anyways, it sounds really interesting. Sounds a little freaking terrifying, man. I don't know if you ever mentioned, but if there's any hair or blood on the ground. You know, like normally when you see where typical wildlife up here in BC, like I've seen numerous places where animals fought. Moose, bear, deer, even mountain sheep. And you usually find tufts of deer fur and deer blood in the snow from where bucks are gouging the shit at each other with antlers. Same as elk, you'll see like branches absolutely annihilate. I've shown you guys a video of two big bull moose I videotaped fighting. They're knocking trees over and beating the shit out of each other, and there's fur flying all over the place. But they don't always bleed. But I wonder if you did find any blood or chunks of hair laying on the ground. I wonder what you would have seen if you went in towards that sound. I wonder what you would have seen. Ooh, that would be something else, right? You imagine that adrenaline. You imagine if you just picture those sounds, even if you don't even believe it, just play the game for a second. Just picture something, the description of a, I don't know, let's say a 9-foot tall dog man type being, 600 or 800 pounds. And then it almost feel like a King Kong and Godzilla thing, right? And then you picture a hair covered human like being. I don't know, we'll say this one is 9 feet tall, maybe 900 pounds. And picture them going at it. I wonder even what kind of moves they put on each other fighting, right? Who knows? Trying to rip each other's arms off. I'm sure the dog man being would be using his teeth, right? What a frickin' sight that would have been if you snuck in on that sound. But what a set of balls you would have had to have to persist, overcome that noise generated from those two, whatever's going on, and go in there and stick your head out of the bushes at the edge of the ring, right? Wow, pretty intense. And I hope the lady in your neighborhood who's troubled with nobody believing her, hope she's watching this video, hope she's watching the channel, so she realizes that there are tens of thousands of people in the exact same position as her, right? Tens of thousands. Thanks for passing that all on to her and helping people, alright? That's what we are all supposed to be doing. No matter what. Okay, what else do we got? I'm going to go one more and I'm going to get out of here and keep moving my butt. There's a lot of unrelated topics here emailed to me, so I really got to do some sifting. Ooh, it's a fairly long one. I'm going to go for it. Alright, what do we got? Titled, This is Red. Titled, My Experience, question marks, My Opinion About Rumble, and the Hats Arrived. Alright. Hi, Steve. I'm going to claim anonymity here as I don't really feel a need to share my identity. You may decide to read or not read this email to the members at your discretion. I've enjoyed your videos and look forward to continuing episodes. I can do a great job of communicating your thoughts on any topic and find myself agreeing with almost all of them. I'll speak on that later. My experience? Question mark. No, I'm not a member of the Round Table of Knowledge as of this email. I've been a hunter for a number of years. I'm in my later 60s and I didn't get a start until I was in my mid-30s. I've harvested numerous game animals and have enjoyed an array of wild game table fare. I live in the Midwest, in what us flatlanders call the golden triangle of white-tailed deer. Great hunting, great numbers, and the racks are big and plentiful, if you know how to hunt for the big boys. Over the last 30 years, I've managed to log a number of hours in the outdoors. I'm familiar with the forest sounds and animals. Those dang squirrels, though, get me every now and then, and before light comes on fully. I've enjoyed gun and bow hunting, mostly bow. My shoulder has just about rendered me incapable to pull my bow now, and I refuse to use a crossbow. Too much like using a gun for my liking. Would love to complete my bucket list someday, but it looks like it'll be by firearm at some point. I've hunted in some of our western mountain states, but have yet to connect on a big bull. Love to meet up with you and work on this bucket list someday. For your eyes only here for a second. Gotcha. Haven't heard of him, nope. My possible experience. After listening to the other stories on here, what may have been an experience for me happened in Wyoming back in the 90s. I was with two other hunters. We were hunting muleys, goats, and whitetails. For the non-hunters, a muley is the type of deer, alright? Mule deer. And the white-tailed deer, obviously. We were within 5 to 6 miles of Devil's Tower, northeast Wyoming. We decided to split up. You know, I've heard the Devil's Tower is apparently an old tree trunk. I took a path going up to a higher elevation, found a nice flat open area, and sat down. Hearing other members telling their stories prompted my memory and some small details I had forgotten about. As I was moving towards what I thought might be a good meadow, I remember how extremely quiet it was as I walked through the bush and grasses. It was mid to late October and the area was dry, and I recall that as I moved. I wasn't hearing any noise, even my own. And I'm not that great of a still hunter. At the moment I thought, wow, odd, but just kept moving. So I found a small ambush spot to sit in. I kept thinking, why can't I hear anything? There should be a lot of sound happening this time of afternoon, but there didn't seem to be any noise. This thought kept reoccurring for most of the time I was seated. I was never tuned into Sabe before this moment, and still don't have any kind of notion of what could be the reason for such silence. It was near the end of the daylight when I noticed an airliner moving across the sky. I thought to myself, it was high enough that the sound traveling to my ears wasn't immediate, but I could see the contrails. Steve, I focused intently on that jet and was so relieved when I finally heard the engines roar as it flew farther and farther away. I retreated back to the truck as soon as I knew there was nothing wrong with my ears. Even going back, it was just too quiet. I got back at dark and my buddies acted like I was late. Could it have been an encounter? I can still hear that silence. Steve, a few days ago you mentioned something to the effect that you were considering going all in on the Rumble site, unless I misunderstood. My opinion on censorship is probably very close to yours. I'd like to share just a quick thought. Had you been on Rumble on an all-in basis, I'm not sure, as a casual YouTuber, I would have stumbled across your program on Rumble. While in the immediate past, my interest in this program's topic has grown quite a bit, but I'm not sure I would have found you on Rumble. Will the other casual viewing public know to go to another channel if they hadn't heard you voicing an implied intent to move there? I guess I'm stating that you might lose the potential of a lot of new viewers if that channel becomes your new platform. I had to look for it after I heard some of your comments in the past about Big Brother censoring your comments and moving there in the near future. Maybe it's just a more popular platform than I realized. I don't disagree with your thought process, just wondered if you might be inadvertently closing the door on potential new viewers or even potential new club members. Just my 2 cents. I'll keep listening no matter what platform you may or may not migrate to. While it takes effort and forethought to play the censorship game, I have little tolerance for it. I feel you might be of the same opinion. However, at what cost will we be pushed to be silenced to the extent truth to those who might be seeking it or those who might become strong allies? Maybe you need several platforms to be heard from. Yes, I know you are a messenger, weaving continuity to the public about the topic that is shared here. But don't be bullied into losing a very attractive and successful platform over a power game. It's unfortunate that this is the world we live in, and I'm not sure by you moving to another platform due to censorship will only be a benefit to the bullies that run certain media outlets. Look what's happening to Twitter these days. Hard to say if censorship progress will be slowed by them pushing their agendas to censor the public. Only improves their position if you let them. My rant. Was pleasantly surprised when I saw our mail carrier deliver the hats I ordered. I loved them. Applaud the efforts made by Sarah and her staff to get them out as fast as she did. I truly appreciate her effort. Stay strong, watch your six, and have a great vacation. Appreciate what you're trying to accomplish with all of your efforts on and off screen. Keep up the good work. An avid fan. P.S. I hope this read well for you, and only because I love seeing your humility. It's pronounced Illinois. The S is silent, LOL. It is? Illinois. Illinois. It's like people call Missouri, Missouri. So is it Missouri or Missouri? Missouri, Illinois. Gotcha. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the email and the concern as well. The Rumble channel. So we've got the other channel called... What is the other channel? Brain farting. We've got the Roundtable of Knowledge. Yeah, the Roundtable of Knowledge is the other channel. And that channel is continually loading up long past videos from this channel as a backup channel for when my mouth gets this channel deleted and blocked. We have an active community strike right now. And I believe if I get 2 more strikes, we're out. Gone. And you're right, we do have there's a large audience, we have a large audience here, right here. So, the Rumble channel is more sitting there. I do have a Rumble channel. I think I got 2 now. I just don't have the time to fill it with stuff, but I wanted to use the Rumble channel to allow the other voices be heard, where if I share what they have to share here, it'll get this channel deleted. So, as soon as I get all my shit done, then I'm going to put a lot more time and effort into getting more voices heard, and every voice in every topic. Important topics, right? But not to worry, I'm not taking off. I'm not leaving here in a huff. I'm a little more cautious of how we go about sharing people's voices, because there are some topics here that you just cannot talk about here. And, like I've always said before, those who try to stop people from talking are the guilty ones. Period. And if you're not familiar with what the Germans did to the people who were in control of the social media immediately after World War II, you might want to go back, Google that up, and see what they did to them. I posted a picture of what they did to them on social media, and they deleted it. So there was not good content, not to do it again, or they'd delete me. It was a picture of all the nasty sons of bitches that pushed the nasty propaganda which caused millions of people to be murdered. And they took those people that ran those stories and propaganda and they hung them in the street. Deservedly so, they should have. But anyway, before I get myself into trouble, I'm going to get moving. There's no shortage of people emailing, although I will say, because how many times in the comment section, 2 people say, what's the email? What's the email? Somebody send me the email. I'm like, God, don't we have it all over the place? Share my story at howtohunt.com. And if you want some of this stuff that the people are getting, that Sarah's got, these are on the howtohuntstore.com is where this stuff's available. And she's heavily at it right now, getting her orders out in the mail. What else? She is doing the bookings for charters. She just said to me she's answering the emails to this evening to a bunch of people that inquired about fishing with me. We got some repeats coming, I believe. They came out last summer. That'll be for salmon and halibut on my on the big boat. And I will be guiding July and August. That's it. All right? And those days I know are filling up. She just asked me how many days do you want to fish. I'm like, I don't care. If they fill up, I'll do it. So there you go, you guys. Oh, that's the fishing is book it at howtohunt.com. All right? Salmon and halibut with me on the boat, West Coast Vancouver Island. I think that's all I have that I was supposed to pass on. So now I can escape and carry on. And I'll be back shortly. I hope everybody has a great weekend and is safe. And do not ever let anybody stop you from speaking, period. All right? I'll be back.